Hi, my name is Mancy, and today I'll be interviewing Walter from Pride Lines. Walter, my first question for you is if you could just tell me your name, occupation, and the years you've been doing this.
So my name is Walter Rucker. I'm a case manager here at Pride Lines. A couple weeks from today, we'll make a year that I've been doing case management here. Prior to here, I was doing HIV and STD work as a disease intervention specialist for the Department of Health, and that's basically the person that comes from the state when someone tests positive for HIV or STD to help them get treatment and find out who their partners are. And prior to that, I did HIV testing for HF, which is a large HIV-focused nonprofit.
My next question to you is what resources do you help patients find?
Well, actually, what made me come to Pride Lines was I came here for like an event, and I was speaking to my now director prior to working here about my experiences in working in public health with HIV and how a lot of organizations don't look at the person from a holistic point of view. Of course, like someone who's HIV positive has medical needs, but because HIV has so much stigma, there's also a lot of like mental health and emotional attention that they might need, or sometimes, yes, they're HIV positive, but they might be homeless, or they might be not just prostituting, but on drugs, or doing different things. Point being that people who are HIV positive are still people, and they're more than just their virus or their infection, and they need more than just medical care. So here at Pride Lines, I really connect people who are HIV positive with whatever it is they need. So, of course, a lot of times that is medical care, connecting them to a doctor that they feel comfortable with, helping them to get medicine, helping them understand their infection. But sometimes it's assistance with housing, sometimes it's assistance with food, sometimes it's employment. So I connect people who are living with HIV to whatever services it is that they might need.
My next question to you is how has your experience been with positive patients?
Everyone's different. I've worked with people who are newly infected, and I've worked with people who have been who are long-term survivors of HIV. So it really just depends on the person. Some people kind of try to not really deal with their infection, like they just take their meds and they don't think about how it's affecting them in other areas of their life, like in terms of like their relationship with their friends or romantic partners or family, the fact that they don't tell anyone, they don't feel comfortable talking to anyone, but those who are involved in their medical care about it. So everyone's different, but for the most part, it's a very rewarding experience.
My next question to you is how do you comfort people who are just found to be positive?
So when I do HIV testing, because I still currently do that pretty often, and I did it for a while years ago, everyone's different. So when I first give someone that news, I allow them to react, and then I counsel them based off of their reaction, because not everyone has this devastated reaction. I tested people and they had just found out for the first time that they were HIV positive, but they were very proactive. They were calm, at least in that moment, and they might say something like, okay, so what do I do next, or how do I get medicine? And then I've had people faint, and I've had people who might have been hysterical, like crying. It was very hard to get through to them. And when speaking to someone in that moment, honestly, a lot of what you talk to them about is probably going to be forgotten because it's such a traumatic experience for a lot of people. But really addressing whatever their concerns are. So if someone is, upset or sad about the result, figuring out what about the result is bothering them the most or concerning them the most, and really addressing that and counseling them and educating them based on what their main fears are in that moment.
And then what would you think is the biggest misconception about living with the disease?
There is a lot of stigma around HIV, so that's such a loaded question, because the stigma around HIV comes with so many negative and untruths, policies that, like, this short interview, like, it's not enough. Like, we could take up a whole separate interview talking about the impacts of stigma. But ultimately, the biggest misconception that I would say in this moment is that people living with HIV are not going to live normal lives or can't lead normal lives.
And then, is there anything that you think is important for all positive patients to know?
That they are more than their infection, that's just one aspect of their life, that they are not alone in that, and that there are lots of organizations that are present, lots of support groups, lots of resources that are growing and already in place to help support them throughout their lives.
That's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you for doing this interview with me.
No problem. Thanks for having me.